Lauren Boebert is making a list, and she's probably checking it twice. Now, that list is not who's naughty or nice. No, it's a list of Democrats she plans to punish if Republicans retake the House. Now, as the House had debated the censure of Paul Gosar on Wednesday for tweeting out some anime videos that depicted the killing of his coworkers, Lauren Boebert attacked her colleague Ilhan Omar as a member of the Jihad Squad, and also said that Eric Swalwell was, quote unquote, sleeping with the enemy. All right, that's super weird. Now, Ilhan Omar, of course, responded, and I like this. She said, "I'm grateful I was raised to be a decent human and not a deprived person who shamefully defecates and defiles the House of Representatives." Oh, I love it. Nice little dig at the Capitol rioters there. Love it when Ilham slaps back. Now, later on, Boebert went on Fox News to talk about this and revealed her plan for punishing Democrats for the censure of Paul Gosar. Take a look.
So a couple hundred years ago, you would have had a duel with Congresswoman Omar. When you guys see each other in the halls, is it friendly? Do you look each other in the eyes? What's going on?
So unfortunately, most of the Democrats vote by proxy the majority of their time, so we don't see a whole lot of them. Maybe when the Republicans are back in the majority, we'll actually have regular order and we'll actually be able to debate our colleagues on issues. But right now, they're busy removing Republicans from committees, not fixing all the crises that we're seeing all throughout our country, the invasion of our southern border, the energy crisis, the supply chain crisis, our children being forced to wear masks in school, the medical mandates that are taking place. Democrats have now removed 4 Republicans from committees. But look, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
I started making a list, and Ilhan and Eric are at the top. Maxine Waters, Cori Bush, and a couple other Democrats like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are on there too. So if you have any names that you'd like to add, Jesse, let me know.
Yeah, let me just add some names. Yeah, I know. I know. Some of you are saying, well, how is this news? Well, look, I'm going to tell you how this is important because it's pretty gross. See, you have Republicans that are out there literally making lists of people that they do not like, even pointing out Liz Cheney, which I think is still a horrible person, and Adam Kinzinger, and saying, oh, they're Democrats. And no, they're not. They're actually literal Republicans. Well, okay, to be fair, Liz Cheney literally got kicked out of her own party because it's now the party of Trump. Still, what they're doing is that they're planning on doing retaliation. So this is a retaliation list for people they don't agree with politically and do not like. So that's a huge problem, okay? But here's the thing, right? So now Gosar was stripped of his committee. That's true. They're very, very triggered. They're very mad about this. Okay? And so Gosar, look, he'd been removed for posting violent imagery about AOC and Joe Biden, a depiction of killing them. In a normal workplace, something like that would not fly. Okay? That would get you in trouble, possibly fired. That's why it's an issue. Have any Democrats done anything like that in Congress? No. The last person who identifies as liberal to do anything like that was Kathy Griffin with the Trump head covered in ketchup. And well, what happened there? Her career got fucking obliterated. Both liberals and conservatives were like, what are you doing? That's dumb. That's terrible. Why would you do something like that? And so, yeah, I'm not a fan of Kathy Griffin, but her career did get obliterated, just absolutely destroyed. She was savaged. She lost her job at CNN, etc. There were consequences for that. But Paul Gosar also does something similar, and guess what? Consequences. There were consequences. But no. Republicans say consequences. No, we're Republicans. We don't have consequences. And so, again, Democrats are not doing things like that. And that's why they're not getting kicked off committees. But now, when Republicans take over, they're out there saying, no, we're going to kick people off committees because we don't like them. Because it's retaliation because they did it to us. Now, here's the thing. You should only get kicked off your committees for doing heinous things. Now, look who else was kicked off. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why? Because she did the same thing as Paul Gosar, or something similar. She advocated for literal violence against Democrats. And not only that, but she spread insane anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about Jewish laser beams and all that. Now, you also had Steve King. He was stripped of his committee assignments, right? What did he do? Well, he, for years, got away with using white nationalist rhetoric. Even meeting with the Wilddieters or whatever weirdo guy in Europe, who was a literal white nationalist. He even said things like, oh, we can't, repopulate our population with somebody else's babies. White babies only. And that's what it is. And so, yes, he got kicked off for being a literal white nationalist. But who else? Who else? Who else? Now, again, it's very rare to get kicked off committee assignments. You've got to be a really heinous person. Okay? So, now, there were Democrats that were kicked off, right? One example was Jim Traficant. What did he do? A Democrat, okay? Well, he literally voted for a pedophile to be Speaker of the House. I'm not kidding. Republican Dennis Hastert. He supported Republican Dennis Hastert, again, pedophile, for Speaker of the House. And by the way, later on, Traficant was indicted for bribery, racketeering, and tax evasion. So, literal corrupt Democrat. Good. I didn't have any problem with them kicking him off his committee assignments. Good. They should have. They should have. They should have. All right, there's more. Another Democrat from Louisiana, 2006, Representative William Jefferson. He was facing a corruption investigation in which FBI agents had found $90,000 in bribe money in his freezer. Wow. After winning re-election in a runoff, he was kicked off the powerful House Ways and Means Committee and then convicted in 2009 on 11 counts of corruption. 2007, Larry Craig, this is the Republican now, in Idaho, was caught in a sting investigation involving sexual activity in a bathroom at a Minneapolis airport. He pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and agreed to step down from his top GOP posts on Veterans Affairs committees and 2 subcommittees in response to pressure from leadership. Although he retained membership in those committees and said, I'm sorry. I express some regret for my guilty plea, but I'm still going to be members of these committees. Yeah. He did not seek re-election in 2008. I wonder why. So now, there's more. A couple more Republicans here. In more recent cases, in 2018, Chris Collins of New York and Duncan Hunter, California, were both kicked off committees due to their indictments. Collins for insider trading and Hunter for misuse of campaign funds. Both were ultimately convicted, but then later on pardoned by Trump. Yes, Larry Craig is the wide stance guy, by the way. So understand, to get kicked off your committees, you got to do some pretty heinous stuff. I would think that using violent imagery against your political opponents for disagreements, well, to your coworkers, by the way, these are people you're supposed to work with and come together to govern with, and you're doing this? You're posting violent images? No, that's a serious problem. That is a serious problem. And what it does is that it feeds into stochastic terrorism and political violence. That said, I have one more video here. This is Jesse Waters asking what Lauren Boebert plans to do with this list.
It's a certainty that you're going to retake the House and you're going to be in charge of the committees and you guys can run the show. Are you going to be targeting Ilhan Omar over any of her history, any of her recent history? What sorts of things could you do?
So that is exactly what we are going to do. When we have the majority, it is going to be all about accountability and investigations. I will be on the oversight committee, and I am submitting subpoenas for the people who are in this administration and making them answer to their failures. And I am absolutely calling out the members of Congress who serve in the House and do the things that they do. I'm absolutely going to hold them accountable. And what goes around, like I said, will come around.
Get ready for Mountain of Bullshit. Oh, you thought Benghazi was bad. Oh, just wait. Wait till you see what Lauren Boebert is cooking up. And again, the sad thing is, they are very likely to take the House now. The recent congressional maps made from redistricting are brutal, combined with Biden's low approval rating. Let me give you some details about that. According to The Hill, the decennial census will shift seats away from California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, and toward Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, Oregon, and Texas. States that voted for Trump will end up netting about 3 seats. In addition, the Cook Political Report thinks that Republicans will gain 3 to 4 seats simply by having more control of drawing new congressional districts. Gerrymandering, congressional districts, the census, turnout, all of that is very important. And look, I've been watching the polls for Biden. Disastrous. Not good. Not good at all. Again, you look at the polls, very unpopular. A lot of people are blaming him for inflation. I don't actually think that's his fault. Because you have factual information here about things like supply chain issues, again, as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, et cetera, as well as labor issues with corporations not paying people enough to do the jobs, lots of people that have died or no longer work in those jobs or have moved on to other jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you have all these different factors that have led into inflation, and the economic issues facing this country right now. And look, a lot of people blame Biden for it. Gas prices, again, OPEC Plus is to blame for that, for withholding their production or keeping production low in order to squeeze or extract more money. We could actually get away from that if we were to get away from fossil fuels, but we're not going to, because Joe Biden, and this is where it is his fault, said nothing will fundamentally change. And he's done, again, also his fault, other than, I think, the coronavirus stimulus package, which was chock full of corporate welfare, corporate handouts, not a lot for the American people. A lot of people have not felt their material conditions improve under Joe Biden. And so the president's approval rating, it's going to play into the turnout during the midterms, and it's going to be an absolute disaster. So, and add on to that, if Republicans win the House, get ready for a nonstop cavalcade of bullshit political retribution towards the Democrats for simply existing. That's really all it takes now. You don't have to be, corrupt or anything like that. No, you just have to be a Democrat. And that's it. That's enough for Lauren Boebert. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.